All right, everybody. I'm open up the warm-up, fork it. The instructions are write code here that prints all elements in the array list that contain the letter E. You have to use index of. So I made an array list called words. It holds strings. I added four words. And one easy way to print the ones that have an E in them is to do an enhanced for loop. For string W in words, if w.index of E greater than 0, system.out.println W. I see a hand. That is what I meant. Thank you. Good point. So this works great. It should. We should get Tiger and Liger. Tiger and Liger. That's the first part. And write code that changes each element to be uppercase. So for this, you can't use an enhanced for loop. You have to use a regular for loop. Can you all get your earbuds out? Can you put your phones away? I heard a phone go off. We are back in school. You're going to have to step away from your digital online lives just briefly when you're in my class. Hope you had a wonderful break. With array lists, you use get and set to get something and then to set something. Use dot size with parentheses in the for loop. So I'm starting part 2 right here. And I asked you to make each element uppercase. So I would do words.set I. We're setting the element at I to the following, which is words.get I dot to uppercase. That's all just one line. And then print the array list using a standard print call system. And words. I'll print them all in a row. So I'm being very specific. I didn't want you to like print them uppercase. I wanted you to set them uppercase so that they are forever been changed. That's it. That was the warm up. All the code is almost showing. I think it is all showing now. Don't worry about the spacing. Questions? Hey, we will go over the final exams, but just not today. And I thought about changing today's assignments because of our minimum day, and I decided not to. Wasn't that much work anyway, and you can finish it at home at no penalty. And there's help videos. I work everything out. I'm just not willing to change our plan just because it's raining. All right, I'm going to go to our slide deck. I'd like you to wrap up the warm-up. You'll have time to finish it if you didn't finish it. So welcome back. Statistics on the final exam. The maximum score was 67 out of 68. The minimum was 30. The average was 61.4. The median was 65. The mode was 65. Anyway, you guys did pretty well. I'm happy with your results. I mean, 65 as the median. The mode is also the most common score. The median score is if you line them up from lowest to highest, the middle score. So it's 65 out of 68. What? It's awesome. So our plan right now is we're going to finish Unit 7. Our test will be in a week and a half, next Friday, Friday the 13th. That's a good luck day for a test. Yeehaw. And then after that, we have 3 more units, Unit 8, 9, and 10. And our AP exam is Wednesday, May 3rd. We're in a great position to be completely ready for this. And I'm going to show you our plan for the day. We did the warm-up. We've got some pretty quick notes, some common ArrayList errors, a new topic called linear search, and then something we've already done once, how to use an ArrayList in a class that you write yourself. And we just have 2 assignments. Not a big deal. So everybody stop typing and look up here. We're going to go through some common ArrayList errors. First, ArrayLists are awesome. However, here are some things that people do that are wrong. Try not to confuse ArrayLists with arrays. Arrays you access with square brackets, and to find out how long they are, it's .length with no parentheses, and you can't change how big they are. You have to make them, and then they're that big forever, or until you delete them or replace them. You can make array lists bigger and smaller whenever you want. In fact, they in our usage, they always start out empty, and then you add things to them, and you can remove things. You use .get and .set to access elements, and you use .size with parentheses. So anyway, we'll practice. ArrayLists, number 2, ArrayLists only hold object data. So like strings or frogs or other custom classes, or if you need to store integers in them, then you store them using the integer with a capital I class. And there's also a double with capital D and a Boolean with a capital B, but not a big deal. You have to say what type of object you're going to be storing in an array list when you're creating it. So here's an example with the string. And then don't forget the little parentheses at the end, which tells Java to call the constructor. Questions? I thought we were done. We have a 5th thing. Remember, everybody, if you're going to be removing things from an array list, start at the end and work backwards. Otherwise, your code won't be successful. So here's an example starting at the end. Int I equals words.size -1. Keep going as long as I is greater than -1 and go down by 1 each time. It'll go back and delete things. If you start at the beginning and start deleting things, then the numbers get messed up. Like you're at element 3, but then you just deleted an element. So when then you go to element 4, the one that was at element 4 is now element 3. So you basically skip, you don't check a bunch of things. So lastly, I'm pretty sure this is my last little point. If you don't change the size of an array list, if you're using an enhanced for loop, if you do, you get a concurrent modification exception error. So just don't only use an enhanced for loop if you're just going to print things or add things up or look at everything or count things, but not if you're trying to change anything. Oh, there's a 7th point. If you want to change elements, use a regular for loop and use get and set like we just did in the warm-up. This is not an error, but just an overview of the ways you can access an array list using a for loop. You could start at 0 and go less than the size up by 1. You could start at 0 and go less than or equal to the size -1. I got all this from the College Board. You could start at the end and keep going as long as I is greater than or equal to 0, going down by 1 each time. Or you can say greater than -1. These are some common ways. This is all in the slide deck. Whew, finally. Now, everybody, a linear search. there's a couple different types of searches you have to learn for this class. This is the easiest one. It's the only one we're doing in this unit. It's called a linear search. A linear search is when you start at either the end or the beginning of an array or an array list, and you just methodically go through the entire list looking for something. So in Java, it's traditional to return the index of the thing you found, or a -1, meaning I didn't find it. So here's an example of a method called findIt that receives an integer array list called nums, and it's searching for this thing called val. And look, I start at the beginning, I go all the way to the end, and I check, hey, if the one that I'm at is equal to val, then I return that index. And then if I finish the for loop without finding it, I return -1. I wish I had put in here, and maybe I will after class. A linear search is awesome. It's simple, very easy to code. What would be a downside of this for searching? Johan? That's a good point. If the thing you're looking for occurs more than once, you're only finding one of them. Oren?
It could start to take a really long time.
That was the one I was thinking of. It could start to take a really long time. If you had a million entries in something and you were starting at the beginning and looking for something, it could take however long it would take to go through every single one before you know it's there or not there. So it's not super efficient for large data sets, but for things that we care about, it's just fine. It's very fast. Certainly easy to code. Also, if your data isn't sorted, it's kind of the only way that you can look for something. I mean, so if you have unsorted data, this is a great way to do it. Maybe the best way. If you have sorted data, then there's more awesome ways, which we learn in the next unit. Last point I wanted to show you, we did this last, well, I was going to say last week, but you know what I mean. In December, we made a word group class where we had an array list inside. And I wanted to show you when you have an array list as one of the instance variables in a class that you write, you have to do this. Look up top here. Instead of putting this all on one line somewhere, you have to at the top say private array list comments. And then in the constructor, you have to finish the creation. You say comments equals new. That's where the new keyword comes in. You know, if you're just writing code somewhere and you do it all in one line, that's great. Like in my in the warmup right here, it's all on one line because this isn't in a custom class. But if you're in a custom class, and you need this as an instance variable for the whole class, you have to just declare it up here and then finish creating it inside the constructor. Yeah.
What would happen if you did like the whole thing at the very top?
It won't work.
Will you not be able to access it within each object?
I don't remember exactly what the failure is, but I've tried it. It doesn't work. So don't do it that way. Don't create it completely at the top. This is the way you do it. Yeah, you could try it and let me know. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does work in some weird way, but I'm pretty sure I tested it and it doesn't work. All right, so work to get done today. Finish the warm-up first. Then there's a linear search REPL, and then a jumble class. The jumble is a new class I'm asking you to write. It's very simple. And there's help videos for the linear search and the jumble class. So if you run into trouble or you're puzzled, take some time this afternoon. And I wish you the